Okay.
Oh, no, I think, I know.
Yeah.
I think two shows are due.
Okay, good morning, everybody. Good morning to Sunday morning. Learning some Chassidus at 10 a.m. in the morning. We are holding in your Tanya, we're holding on page number 7, chapter 2 of Tanya. The Alter Rebbe introduces us to the most fascinating concept in Chassidut, in Kabbalah, which is the second nefesh Hashem, is the second soul that every Jew has. It's brought down in the Zohar that every Jew has a nefesh Hashem, a second soul. We have two souls. This is a Kabbalistic concept. Self-understood, as you'll soon see, the Zohar bases it on a verse of the Torah. But this is truly a Kabbalistic concept that we have two souls within us. This is something, a very spiritual concept, that we have two entities within us, a godly entity and an animalistic entity, which makes us in many ways a Jekyll and a Hyde. And there's a positive concept in that, because if it would be one soul, it would be a very serious situation. That was a story, at the beginning of the story of Isaac and Rebekah, when the Torah says that she started having problems in pregnancy. So she went to the prophet, says. And the prophet told her, which Rashi says it's Avram Avinu, she went to Abraham, her father-in-law. Abraham was her father. Went to Abraham and said, why am I having this struggle? She thought that she had one child, that whenever she passed a idol worshiper, he was running to idol worship. Whenever she passed a holy place, it was running to holy place. She felt that she had a mixed up child. She had a child, the one child that was mixed up. And that's a terrible thing, to have one child that's mixed up. Therefore, she went to Avram Avinu, and Avram Avinu, the prophet, answered her, Shnei goyim bibitnech. You have two children. You have two children in yourself. You don't have one child. You have two children, one that's running to holiness, and the other one that's running to unholiness. All the time in their mother's stomach, they are already two entities that are running to two different worlds. And ultimately, these are the two children, Yaakov and Esau. Kabbalah explains the same concept. From the time of birth, you have within yourself two souls. Your nefesh elikis, your godly soul, which is symbolic in Jacob, and you have your animalistic soul, which is symbolic in Esau. These two entities that are pushing you, that are trying to fight over you, me, who is going to be the dominant figure, what's going to be the priority, and what's going to be secondary. And you can explain these two souls in many different aspects. That's a struggle in the world itself. What's priority? What is my priority? Is my priority a godly priority, or my priority is a worldly priority? Not saying that godliness is not important, but it's not priority. It's not the first thing in my life. It's when I have time, when I'm rested, when I want to. It's secondary. First is me. It was once a chassid, they say once a chassid came to Rabban Kalina at the time of the Magician Maggid, one of the students of Magician Maggid. One of his colleagues came to him in the middle of the night, came to his city, and he knocked on the door. And the Kalina said, who is there? Who's at the door? He said, I am here. He thought it was his best friend. Rabban Kalina was his best friend. So he's knocking on the door. He said, I'm here. He's not answering the door. He knocks on the door again. He says, Rabban Kalina says, who's on the other side of the door? He says, I'm here. What do you mean, who? You don't reckon it? He ignores him. It's freezing outside. Knocking on the door again. He says, who's there? He says, Yanko ben Shmero, whatever it was. He said, where are you coming from? He said, I'm coming from the Magician Magid. I'm coming from the Magician Magid. I'm coming from our teacher, coming to visit you. He says, you're coming from his rich, and you say, I think you have to go back to Mizrich. I think you got to go back to the Magician Magid. I think you need to go back home and learn, who am I? I said the Magician Magid's student. I am here. Who are you? Have the word I. The word I is how you say the word I in Hebrew. How you say the word I in Hebrew? What? Ani. Ani. How you spell the word ani? How you spell ani? Aleph, Nun, Yud. That's how you spell the word ani. So what's the center of the word ani? Is the Nun, the center, right? So if you say the word I or ani, then I'm the center of the universe, and everything's surrounded around me. If you take that Yud, the last Yud, and you bring it into the middle, Aleph, Yud, Nun, you take the Yud from the end, you bring it into the middle, and what do you have now? Ayin. Nothing. You take the Yud is God. You bring him into the middle. He's the center of the universe. He's the center, not I. The Yud is the center. If you take the Yud, you bring it into the middle, now it becomes Ayin. It becomes Ayin. It becomes nothing. What it means, it becomes nothing. Ain't safe. What is God called? Infinite. Ain't safe. Ayin. Yesh me Ayin. We learn that everything is a yesh me ayin. Everything is something from nothing. We call the Abish says the ayin because it's unfathomable. Yesh is something that you can understand, you can grasp. Ayin is something you cannot grasp. God cannot grasp God as much as you want to, as much as you think you could. You cannot grasp the Abish. So you have to take the yud, dani. You have to take that yud, move it out from the end, move it into the middle. God into the middle. He's the center of the universe. Everything surrounds around God, not around me. Everything surrounds around God.
Amen.
Amen. Hallelujah. Amen. Yes, Maisha.
Doesn't it mean infinite?
Ayin means nothing. That's a simple word meaning of the word ayin.
So
nothing.
Say Ein Sof.
Ain't safe. It's infinite. Nothing. It's above comprehension. Ain. It's not there. It's there, but not there. Ain't
So
safe.
is it nothing or is it infinite? Is it?
That's not. Ayin means nothing. It's not something that. It's not a something. It's a nothing. It's not a something. It's the real something. Right?
From zero to infinity
No,
is infinitely different.
No, there's no. In infinity, there's no zero. Infinity doesn't start from someplace. If you start from zero, then it's not infinite. Then it started from someplace. So there's no mathematic when it comes to infinity, because any mathematic has a number. Infinity, there's no mathematic number to it. There's no beginning or end. It's unlimited. Better. That would be a better word.
Unlimited.
Unlimited. Ein le tchila ve'ein le seif.
It's different than nothing.
Again, it's nothing in comparison to what we know as something. Something.
I get your point. You got to take yourself out of the center.
Good, very good. Okay, you got that point. So the Eibishter, God, into creation, these two concepts. The Eibishter God didn't want that these two concepts would only be in heaven and earth. That's as we say, that before the giving of the Torah, this week's coming up to the giving of the Torah, we're not going to learn. Next Sunday is Shavuos. So what was Matan Torah? What was the giving of the Torah? Siddur explains that the giving of the Torah was the breakage of that what's above is above and what's below is below. The Eibishter broke the decree that the above cannot come down to below and the below cannot go back to above. There has to be within the below this concept. it's self-understood, not the way between God and creation, but it's a similar concept. So within this world, we have these two aspects, which Chassidus teaches us. You have Oir and Kli. You have the concept of the light and the vessel, Ruchni and Gashmi, spirituality and physicality. So in this world, you have physicality, which is a yesh, and you have spirituality. So in comparison to physicality, the spirituality is an ayin. Yesh me'ayin. So for example, even in a more physical way, you have thought and speech, which we're going to be introduced to in this chapter. Thought and speech. Both of them are creation. Both of them are in the human being. But thought to speech is like yesh me'ayin. Thought to speech is like yesh me'ayin. Thought is like the ayin to speech. That's the yesh. So thought, speech, and to action is like yesh me'ayin. Thought to action is like something for nothing, right? It's like thought is much deeper, much more spiritual than action, or even, as I said, thought to speech. Why I want to bring it up? Because Alter Rebbe is saying, he's explaining, if you look in the beginning of the Parsha, you look in the beginning of, not this Parsha, in the beginning of Genesis, you see that the creation of the world was created by Sodom and Mothers, was created through speech. While the soul of man was created through thought. So, to the Eibishter, both thought and speech is a physical reality. Self-understood. That's why you say, say, my thought is not like your thought. Your thought is a limited concept. My thought is not a limited concept because I'm infinite, right? But I'm giving you an analogy from thought to speech. You should have an analogy in this world to understand godliness. You should understand the difference when I say in the Torah thought and when I say in speech. Your thought, your speech is much more of a limited concept. It's more chitzonius. I only speak for somebody else. So you can also use the two words. I use the word oid and kli, light and vessel. You can use also the word pnimius and chitzonius, an inner concept and an outer concept. Pnimi is an inner concept, that's oid, and chitzonius is an outer concept. So what is it? Thought, speech is the vessel, is the chitzon for the machshava. Thought is the vessel for the thought. Speech is the vessel for the thought. So how do you know what I'm thinking about? I speak. So I'm reveal what I'm thinking, hopefully. I reveal what I'm thinking about, even though my thought is much more deeper than my speech. My thought is much more deeper. I might have much greater thoughts in this subject, but I'm telling you right now, than what I'm saying. Maybe I can't even express my thought in my speech. That means the vessel of speech is not big enough for the thought. It's like an absent-minded professor. Understand somebody who has such deep thoughts that it's almost impossible for a regular person to understand them. Shlomo HaMelech, he had to give 3,000 analogies for every thought he had. So it took him a long time to bring his thought into speech. He had to give one analogy to another analogy to another analogy to another analogy. A person should understand his thought. It took 3,000 analogies to explain his thought. So his thought was very deep. He had very deep thoughts. That's why in all the writings of Shlomo HaMelech, there are extremely hidden concepts of godliness and Shir Hashirim, and all these things are really high concepts in Kabbalah and spirituality. But it's in his thought. And now, how do you bring it into speech? So thought to speech is like earth to a vessel, is like pnimis to chitzonis, like ayin liyesh, from something to nothing. Nefesh alakis, which we're going to do, which Alter Rebbe introduces you today, is your godly soul. Comes from the machshava of the Eibishter, comes from the thought of God, meaning that was the real pnimius, the real inner aspect of why we are here in the world, is because of this nefesh alakis. That is the real reason we're here. No, it says in Pirkei Avos, I was learning yesterday over here, in Pirkei Avos, it says you should do your will. Will should become God's will. What is will? What is one's will? You can have this conversation from today until doomsday. What is your will? What is your true will? Does anybody know what the true rotzon is? You might go through life never finding out what your true will is. You don't learn Torah.
It's your will or God's will for
No.
you.
What's your will? What's my rotzon? What is my true will? If I know what my true will is, I would do everything correctly. I would do everything right because where a person's will is, that's where he's going to be. So really, what is my will? What is my rotzon? What am I here really for? What is my driving force? And that's why this chapter of Tanya is very important, because it tells you what your rotzon is, what the rotzon of a yid is. The rotzon of every Jew is his nefesh ha'elikis, his godly soul. That's his will. No, that's your rotzon of your nefesh ha'bahamis. Your rotzon of your nefesh ha'elikis is to do godliness in the world. That's your true will. And there's nothing else that's important to you than to do the Eibishter's Ratzon. That's it. That's it. That's your Ratzon. That's your true will. You have to reveal that Ratzon. That's your job. Your job, my job in the world is to reveal this Ratzon, which is in me. I don't have to make it. I don't have to create it. It's right in me, this Ratzon, to do the Eibishter's will. I said, the Gemara says, sometimes you can force somebody to say, I want to do a mitzvah. It doesn't make sense, really, in common sense. It doesn't make sense. How do you force somebody to say, I want to do something? You're forcing him that he doesn't want to do it. And if he wants to do it, you don't have to force him. Because the answer is, because he wants to do it. Everybody has a ratzon to do the will of God, because every Jew has a nefesh elikis, has a godly soul, and that's his true ratzon. Might have a lifetime to reveal this ratzon. Might take him a lifetime because he's looking in other places. He's not looking in the right place to find his real ratzon, to find his real will. So here the Alter Rebbe is going to give you, and that's going to take a lifetime to reveal this ratzon, because your nefesh habahamis, your animalistic soul, saying, no, that's not your ratzon. Your ratzon is food. That's why your nefesh habahamis, you tell her your ratzon is food. Wait, talking about godliness. Your ratzon is food. Your ratzon is money. Your ratzon is power, covet. Your ratzon is your ego. That's your ratzon. And the nefesh of the kids saying no. True. Your ratzon is me. I am your true ratzon. Your ratzon is your nefesh of the kids. Your real will is your godly soul. And that's the battle. That's the struggle. Say that Sain Chakir Tzayin. If we can make our will the will of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which that's what it is. Our will is the will of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Yes.
To acquire godliness.
No, to reveal my will.
Or to reveal.
To reveal my godly soul. That's my job. The more I reveal my godly soul, what?
Say my with the capital M.
The capital change it, but okay.
Hashem.
Right. Okay. My godly soul, which is God, to reveal my real ratzon, which is my real will, because that's the way Ani, as expression in Pirkei Avos says, Ani loy nevresi. I was not created for, but to serve God. That's what I was created for. That sounds like I was created and I have an obligation to serve God. I was not created, but to serve God. Therefore, It's only one Ratzon. I have one Ratzon, whether I'm a businessman, whether I'm retired, whether I'm a great sage, whether I'm a simple Jew, whether it doesn't make a difference. We all have the same Ratzon. We all have the same will to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to serve God, to do a mitzvah. We want to do every mitzvah in the Torah. We want to sit and learn Torah by day and night. That's what we really want to do. But we have a Yetzer Hara. We have an animalistic soul that's telling us, no, you can't learn day and night. You got to go to eat. And there's no time to learn day and night. You got to go make a living. You got to do everything. That's why, what does the Rambam say? When Mashiach comes, it's going to be the revelation of God, and we're all going to be able to sit and learn Torah day and night. That's it. Adan and Kafar, all the things that we thought that were important to us is going to be unlimited. It's not going to be money unlimited. There's not going to be no value. It's be secondary. Everything will be there. Madanim. Not that God's going to take away the physicality. It's going to become secondary. Primary is going to come revealed. What is the primary? Godliness. Everything else that you're going to have in life, all the luxuries and everything, you'll have it. You'll have luxuries. It's going to be secondary. It's secondary. Why is it not secondary today? Because you don't have it. You don't have it. Everything, it becomes primary in the physical world. You don't have it. Everybody wants more. Always becomes primary. That's it. That's all we look at. We always look up to other people that have more. So we want more. When everything's going to have, when the physicality will be an abundance, become a secondary concept. It's going to be irrelevant. Why? Because the relevance is going to be godliness. And that's really what it needs to be right now. You need to make primary who you really are, your godly soul. That's what we introduced to at this present moment. Beautiful chapter of Tanya, the second chapter. The Alter Rebbe introduces us to this second soul. Ready? Are you with me? Moshe, I put you to sleep yet? No. Okay. The second soul of a Jew, truly a part of God above. We should understand that our second soul is a part of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Part of God, as is written, He breathed within me, His nostril, a soul of life, breath. God created man through two things. The Torah says, different than anything else that He created in the world. When God created animals, He said, let there be animals. He said, a tree, let there be a tree. And a tree came out. The animal came out. Over here, the Abishter created man. If you listen to the book of Genesis, the Abishter created man. He created first a body. He made a man, his first entity was he created a body, like He created an animal. Created his body form, and then He breathed within him a breath of life. So there was two concepts He created by man. The body, the physical, the vessel, and then He breathed within him a breath of life. Yes.
I was just thinking, if we have two nostrils.
Okay, so what do you want to learn from that?
We have two souls.
Okay.
We breathe the breath. in
Okay.
nostrils.
Two nostrils. Okay. Written in the Zohar, and it's written in the puzzle. You have breathed in it the soul into me, and it's written in the Zohar. He who blows from within him. If you take a breath, deep breath, take a breath. You take a breath from within you. Why does the Torah want to express itself in that kind of a way? The Torah wants to talk in the way humans talk. So the concept of breath is an inner concept. Again, speech is an outer concept. Taking a breath is an inner concept. That is to say, that is innards and is innermost, for it's something from his internal, and an innermost vitality that man omits through exhaling with force. Oh, our God is speaking again. It's only a mushal. The souls of Jews risen in the divine thought. As it's written, it says, my firstborn son is Israel. Beni is a pasuk in the Torah. Beni in Exodus, Exodus 4:22. Beni b'chayri Yisrael. The Abishah says, you are my firstborn. You are the children of the Lord your God. All these expressions, Deuteronomy, all these expressions, why did the Torah express itself in such a kind of fashion? But he's the children of God. The Torah say, you are the children of God. This only gave Jews a lot of problems. Best thing God, if God would have been politically correct, he would have not put these verses in the Torah. This brought the concept of hatred against Jews. But what should we do? The Torah says, you are the children of HaKadosh Baruch. And you are my firstborn. This is a child derived from the father's brain. So through anthropomorphically, the soul of every Israelite is derived from the thought and the wisdom, blessed be he. As a nation, have an obligation to bring pnimius to the world, to bring light to the world, to bring godliness to the world. That's our obligation. You shall be a light upon the nations. We have to ultimately uplift this world, not only uplift ourselves, we have to uplift the world in its purpose of why there's a world and why did God create the world. Not only to make the world a beautiful world, the Gashmis, in a physical world, that the world should be in existence, but there's more than that. We have an obligation to bring the world to its purpose. That's our service. Now, to bring the world to its purpose, you need to have everybody. You need to have everybody. You need to have every nation of the world. You need to have every animal in the world. You need to have every tree in the world. You need to have everything. Because if you're not going to have the world, then you cannot bring the world to its purpose. But there's chitzonius and there's pnimius. Everything has within it. There is inner and there's outer. So there's a body and there's a soul. There's a purpose of the world and there's the world. You with me? Mm-hmm. Over here, people. On Zoom, you with me? But it's quiet. Right? Soul of each has a derived from his thought and his wisdom, blessed be, for he is wise, but not through the noble wisdom, because he and his wisdom are one, as Maimonides says. The Chochmah of the Eibush, this is the Alter Rebbe introduces something, another concept, to understand that when you say that God created the world through his, that God created the purpose of the world through his thought. That means within the creation of the world, there is the Chochmah of the Eibush, there is the wisdom of God. That is the purpose of creation. So in essence, if you look at it, if you're a thinking person, then you understand that wisdom and the person that's thinking is two different entities. There's the person and there's the wisdom that he's thinking. There's the person, the knowledge, and the knowing. Three different entities in creation, in a normal kind of situation. So there's me, there's a knowledge, and there's what I know. Different entities, but by God, the Rambam writes, and the Rebbe, Sidis, and Zoya also emphasize this concept. By God, he and his wisdom are one. There's no kind of concept of God and his thoughts. I have a lot of machshavas. I can have a lot of thoughts. I dream a lot. Fantasize, whatever. It's not real. There's me and there's my fantasies. There's my thoughts. Who I think I want to be, or I should be, or I hope to be, or whatever. But in reality, this is who I am. So there's two different things. I can say something and think something also differently. Because me and my thoughts can be two different concepts. You cannot separate that by God. When you say God's machshava, God had a thought, or God had a wisdom, him and his wisdom are one. Truth is, everything is one by God. Ultimately, that's what we say, the whole world comes from God's wisdom, therefore the whole world is in the wisdom of God. The whole world is part of God. You can't separate God from the world, and you can't separate the world from God. Therefore, which Rambam writes, it's hard for a human being to comprehend that concept, really, to the essence of this concept, because by us everything has its department, so to say. There's thought, there's speech, there's action. There is me. There's a thought. There's a knowledge. I'm acquiring knowledge. There's a knowledge I haven't acquired yet. And even if I acquire the knowledge, doesn't mean that it's going to be me either. We know that. We learn a lot of stuff, but who said that we do anything of that stuff, right? It's a knowledge. It's a nice concept. We heard a nice speech, right? What does that have to do with me? Nothing. What does knowledge have to do with me? Nothing. Because there's the knowledge and there's the knower. It's two different concepts. Right? I have two different aspects, but the Eibush, by God, you cannot say this concept. By God, there's no such thing as the knowledge and God. God is the knowledge, and the knowledge is him. And ultimately, God is the world, and the world is him. God, there's no, you missed last day a great mimer, very deep mimer we learned yesterday. Started the yes. When you don't come, that's what I do, the mimer. So whatever goes, very deep mimer. You know, to God, there's no time space. You have to you have to learn Torah like it's new. How is it possible to learn Torah it's new? And Torah was given 3,000 years ago. Because you're learning Torah, the Torah of God. With God, there's no time and space. God yesterday and 3,000 years ago is the same thing. The Rebbe gives an example. He gives an analogy. Listen to this analogy. The Rebbe says, it says in the Gemara that if you read if you want to bring a carbon today, if I want to bring a carbon today, right? There's no Beis Hamikdash. How can I bring a sacrifice? So the Gemara says, if you open the Chumash and you learn the law of an oila, or you learn the law of a chatas in the Chumash, is as if you're bringing the sacrifice. The burnt offering. Should have been by the chitas, you should know that already. An oila is a burnt offering, and chatas is a sin offering. So the Gemara says, if I want to bring a carbon chatas today, I shall learn the carbon, I should learn the I should learn the Torah, and that's as if I'm bringing a sacrifice. Now, that means in learning the Torah right now, I go above time and space. I'm sitting in Boca. I'm learning a sacrifice. I'm learning the Torah of a sacrifice. And it's as if I'm in the Beis Hamikdash. Now, it's above space. In Boca, and I'm standing in the Beis Hamikdash, and it's above time because there's no Beis Hamikdash, right? There's no Beis Hamikdash in this time. In time, there's no Beis Hamikdash, but the Torah is above time. So therefore, when I learn, the Gemara says, if I learn right this present time, the aspect of the sacrifice is if I'm sitting in the Beis Hamikdash. And I am bringing a carbon, so right now, through the learning of Torah, I'm above time and space. I know.
No, it's what I
You also
know.
could be a carbon oil. You
I mean,
also
she had a husband.
do it herself.
Every woman has.
She wanted.
So we're above.
If you did a sin, you should do it yourself. So the Torah gives you the capability above time and space. That's why when it says coming up next week is Matan Torah, it's Matan Torah. Matan Torah was 3,000 years ago. Matan Torah is 3,000 years ago, and it's this next Sunday. Because there's no time and space to God. It's above time and space. And he's above time and space in time and space. Now go figure that one out. He's above time because God is unlimited, and he's above time and space in time and space.
Which means.
So the Eibishter doesn't want to demolish time and space. He created time and space. So the Eibishter wanted that in time and space, a person should have the capability to go above time and space. How do you do that? Through learning Torah.
It makes
Because
sense.
now, through learning Torah, I have the capability to go in time and space. While I'm in time and space, I'm in Boca in the 5,782. And I'm going to receive the Torah again as if it happened
Then.
today, then, and today at simultaneously. Right, so that's why it says also that every Jew is a Matan Torah. We are at Matan Torah. Every Jew is at Matan Torah. Every year, it's like it happened in the original Matan Torah.
That's why.
Hashem is Nitzchias. Correct. That's what the Torah is Nitzchias. The Torah is Nitzchias. Why the Torah eternal? Because it's above time and space. If it's above time and space that has the capability to come in time and space, so therefore it's eternal. And it's never ending.
That's because we're above time. Is as we perceive it, and
The Eibishter wanted that we should become above time, not only he's above time and space. That's why the Eibishter wrote the Torah, Chachma of the Eibishter, which is a part of God, and he gave us mitzvahs, which is a part of his Ratzon and his Chachma. And he said, by doing this, you're going above time and space. You're going in time and space above time and space. That gives you, so why would you be involved in something? So your nefesh habahamis, your animal soul is totally in time and space. Your godly soul is above time and space, right? Because it's a chelik. Your nefesh is above time. It's a chelik elkami ma'amamish. It comes from the breath of God. It comes from the wisdom of God. Therefore, it is above time and space. And therefore, that is where you can connect to the above time and space in time and space. Because ultimately, your nefesh elokis comes into your body, which is totally connected to time and space. Again, it's important not to leave time and space. Never leave time and space,
We tried
right?
that.
Because that would be a terrible situation. Never leave time and space, but to be able to be in time and space and connect to above time and space. And that's what the Torah and mitzvahs give each and every one of us, the capability to connect to something that's above time and space in time and space. And again, that's why,
That's Torah.
that's why the Gemara says, by learning a carbon, and you can do that. We all have done sins. You should all know and learn the carbon chatas, so that when you learn a carbon chatas in the Torah, is as if you brought a carbon chatas. It's a sin offering.
Sin offering.
That's why Parshas Vayikra, this book that we just finished, the Chitas of Vayikra, is so important because it's all the sacrifices that we brought. So you might say, why am I learning it for? It's just basically there's no Beis Hamikdash, and I'm living in Boca. I'm in time and I'm both time and space. They don't work. I'm in Boca, so I'm in the wrong space, and it's the wrong time because the Beis Hamikdash is not here. If I was 2,000 years ago, I should learn it. No. Because by learning this, you connect to concept to be able to do it now. To be able to do it right now. By learning it, you're going to do it right now. This is going to elevate you above time. That's the power of your nefesh elokis. That's the power of your godly soul. Because it doesn't come, your godly soul, to the context of speech, which is much more connected to time and space. It comes from the essence of God. And that's what the Alter Rebbe puts the word mamish, that your chelik, that your godly soul is a part of God, mamish. It has within it the nitzchias. It has within it the everlasting, the super, it has within it the true godliness, not supernatural, because supernatural is itself a creation. It has within it atzmis, the essence of HaKadosh Baruch.
Speech, you said.
Oh, your neshama, your nefesh elokis has within it the essence of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which is above time and space. So even superness, which is supernatural, is still in time. It's still connected to time and space. For the essence of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we're looking for God, which is above time and space. Correct. Now you might ask, how does this happen? How does this happen? That's the analogy of father and son. That's why it's important that the Eibusha said, how does it happen? You are my children. That's why the Torah says, you are my children. Torah wants to give you an analogy of how it happens. How it happens is because we all come from the chokhmah of the Eibusha. We all come from the wisdom of God, like a child that comes from the wisdom of the Father. Chokhmah is father. Bina is mother in Kabbalah. Chachma is the father, it's the drop, it's the imagination. And Bina is the concept of where the thing is, the imagination, the wisdom is developed. And that's why it can be called Av ve'im. Av is the father, Chachma, and Ima is the mother, which is the developer. And that's where it comes ultimately down to the physical world of a father, physically a father and a mother. That is when the father and mother comes together, the unity of the father and mother. That is the unifying force. That is the unifying force, which is higher than really in the way it's connected. That's why Chassidus and Kabbalah, that is something that goes higher than the father and mother. It's something that has the capability to unite the father and mother.
What is English?
Knowledge.
Knowledge.
Wisdom, understanding, and knowledge. That knowledge. So knowledge is brings about something greater in the Chachma and the Bina. It brings about something greater because it becomes solidified. It becomes united with the person that's learning the knowledge. Or in a relationship with a father and a mother, they become united to create something. Create something. The Rambam writes, skip the note over there a second. The Rambam writes, he is the knowledge and the knower. He's the knowledge and knower. You can't separate between the knowledge and the knower. And he's the one that knows. So you cannot separate, you can't compartmentalize. You can't put things into because the Eibush is one. And the truth is, the Rambam himself says this is not within the power of a man to comprehend clearly. To understand this concept is really hard for any human being to comprehend, really to the essence of what that means. And therefore, there's so much Kabbalah and Chassidus on this concept, trying to explain and understand what is the aspect of Chokhmah of the Eibishter. And that's what even King Solomon said, Chachma, I have received wisdom, but I see how far it is from me. So you can acquire and you can learn forever and ever and ever. Learning never ends. Or it says a different expression. Somebody who says, I have received wisdom, doesn't know what wisdom is. Nobody. The Moshe Rabbeinu asked the Abraham, I want to see your face. And God says, it's impossible. And one of the interpretations is, Moshe Rabbeinu says, I want to see your face. I want to see your essence. All right? So you cannot, because it's above, it'll blow your mind away. God can never ultimately reveal himself. Because then there wouldn't be a world. Then there wouldn't be anything but God, which was before creation. Before creation, what was before creation? How many years were before creation? How many years? What was time and space? There was no time and space before creation,
Can
right?
make a year.
So there was God.
Just
There was
God.
God. Finished. No time, no space, no nothing. How many years was it? There's no time. There's no years. There's no time. You don't have no time. You don't have years. But in God, there is always years. Because God is unlimited. Even before creation, there was creation. But in God, there's everything, right? So in God, there's creation. There's also creation. The only reason why there's creation, because in God, there's creation. That means creation was always there, in a way. Because in God's thought, there was always creation. In God,
But everything's in God's.
that's it. So they were there for ultimately everything has been there from the beginning of time. Because you cannot separate from God from his thoughts. So therefore, creation is not according to what they say billions of years. The creation is in the unlimited, as always. But in the physical way, creation is only here 5,700, 817.
No, I won't do that.
Is that so? Hi, it's a very interesting philosophical thing we can talk about. As I said, there's so many different ways of looking at this and so many different ways of explaining it. But that's not that's not the purpose of what the Alter Rebbe wants to bring out in Tanya. The Alter Rebbe wants to bring out in Tanya that we should realize the greatness of our soul. We should realize, we should realize the greatness of who we are.
Person who got the closest to understanding. this
Correct.
stuff.
Correct. What does that mean? Ultimately, there's no. If you think about it, if the Abe is infinite, then what means Moshe got closer? How I get closer, Moshe it was both the same because it's also infinite. So how you say what's the difference between Abe a millionaire or trillionaire? They're both at the same distance.
It says
They're both at the same distance to God, because when God is infinite, there's no difference between a trillionaire and a millionaire. They're both as a distance to him, as close to him. I try to say this because it's important you should realize there's no difference to God. You gave $1 million, you gave him a penny. Because they're both in the concept of to the Abish, there's no difference between a millionaire and a penny. They're both the same concept. Because God is infinite, he's unlimited, so they're both the same. Difference to the world when you give a penny or $1 million. But not to the Abish, and that's why there's a mitzvah to give tzedakah. Every Jew has a mitzvah to give tzedakah a penny. The mitzvah tzedakah is a penny. It's to give it tzedakah. That's the mitzvah.
So how did they come down with the 20%? That's God.
How did they?
Yeah,
But how did they?
because God's talking to human beings. To human being. God's talking to a human being. So you're talking to a human being.
Yeah.
A human being needs to give 10% of tzedakah.
But how did they?
Actually, last week's parsha. So it says that
Sure,
to Asid.
10%. How would they know?
Even God said how to Torah is. It's written in the Torah. Asiri Yeh Kodesh.
No, but I see,
What?
I see what you're asking. Why 10?
Like 10%. What do you mean?
Did God say this to Moshe?
Last week's parsha, the Torah says, "You shall count the sheep, and the 10th one shall be
Oh,
Kodesh."
that one.
That's
Oh, yeah,
10%.
I remember that one.
No, that's a pasuk in the Torah.
Okay.
So he didn't say the 9th one. He didn't say the 11th one. He didn't say the 12th one. He said the 12th one. That's what you got.
assuming you have 100.
That's assuming you have 10.
That's 10%.
Yeah, 10%.
But what if you don't have 10%?
So then
What if you only
10%.
have 14.
Then only 10%. Yeah, 14. Don't give 10% of 14. What's 10% of 14?
No,
It's
what
always
if you have
10%.
14 sheep?
That was in the concept of sheep, so the 10th one. When the concept of the 10%, you learn a concept of 10% from that concept. The 10th one.
Okay.
So what's 10% of 14? Figure it out.
$1.40.
That's correct. We figured it out. You're a genius.
Very good.
Very good. So $1.40 is 10%. But you can argue. The whole argument is 10% net, 10%. If you want to be strict, you should be 10% net. And that's the way you should do it, 10% net. Not after everything else, but 10% net.
But Rabbi, didn't Jacob say it when he woke up from the dream with the ladder?
Right, right.
So he said it first.
It doesn't say exactly what does. I'll give a
I'll give
tithing.
a
It doesn't say
tithing.
tithing. It doesn't say
But the word
exactly.
tithing
We
is not-
manipulate the words a little bit.
It's not connected to the word 10.
Yeah, a little bit. Tithing, because Maisa is connected to Esser. So you have that.
Oh, so it's not
It's not
Clear. As
not clear as you can argue, so to say.
It's a
Like it's everything is there.
well, the word-
No, because the Abishter made everything a little bit in a way, but right, we're ambiguous, so that humans would be able to put their involvement in.
One
in it.
of my psychologists told me.
Yeah.
You like
One
that?
of them. How many
One
do you
of them
have?
told me, but I have to let you figure it out for yourself.
Correct. He's
So
right.
It'll
As is written, can you find God by searching? Can you find God by searching? It's impossible. You could be searching him for the rest of your life. And then even after you're living it, you'll never find, you'll always search. And that's the beauty. We should always search for godliness. We should always realize that our search is never ending. Learning never ends.
Well, that's the knowledge of God.
Correct. And my thought are not your thoughts. The pasuk says right away, my thought is not yours. So therefore, don't search what my thought is, because my thought's not your thought. I'm going to tell you what your thought should be. That's why I gave the Torah, which is my thought, and that's the thought you can comprehend. So I've given you from me my thought that you can comprehend. And that's the thought you should try to comprehend. But to go into the essence of my thought, you're never going to comprehend. Though there are many myriads of different gradations of souls, rank upon rank, ad infinitum, right? Because if your soul is a part of God, so then there's unlimited amount of levels of souls. I say I'm a very extremely low soul. I'm not Moshe Rabbeinu. I'm never going to be the Rambam. I'm never going to be Rabbi Akiva. I might never ever be Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. I'm just not going to be. Truth is, the Gemara says, I think that as the generations went on, it got better. The Gemara says actually, as the generations got on, it spiritually got worse.
Right.
Okay? Right? Avraham Avinu, Yitzchak, Yaakov, the tribes, the ultimate Jews in the desert, they had the capability of revelation of God, which is beyond our comprehension. Their relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu and their revelation, what they had with God. Ultimately, the Jews that came into that saw the Beis Hamikdash, the first temple, and the second temple, the Tanoim, the Amoraim. These were godly individuals. The Amoraim, the second generation of the Tanoim of the Mishnah said, if the Tanoim are like people, then we're like animals. The Amoraim, that I mentioned, Abaye and Rava, that were the second generation of the sages of Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Yehuda, said if Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Akiva, they are considered like human beings, we're like animals. So what are we? What about this generation? What about this generation? So actually, we have a name. We do have a name. We are called Ikvis Mashiach. We are called the hills of the Mashiach. So we are called the soul. You know, the hills, the soul. We are considered the bottom of the bottom of the pit. There's no one down. There's only, I agree. There's only going up. There's no other way, right? Because we are the bottom. We are the lowest of the lowest of the lowest. And the lowest of the lowest of the lowest. We are the soul of this, like a human body. We walk on the ground.
So Rabbi Bukin, How come it's going down and down instead of going up?
Because it's getting, the godliness is it's getting darker and darker. The gullus is getting darker and darker, right? So we had the Mishkan, we had Moshe Rabbeinu, we had Aaron HaKohen, and then we came to Israel, and we had the Beis Hamikdash edition, the order in the revelation of godliness. Then we Churban Beis Hamikdash, we had the second temple, was missing the ark, but it still was a Beis Hamikdash. And then we had the Churban, the second construction, second temple, and then the Jews were dispersed throughout the world. Darkness came, gullus came to the world, the dispersion of Jews throughout the world, which brought about a greater darkness in the world. And right now we are extremely dark in the world, right? And there's a greater darkness. But we realize that there's only one way up. There's only the concept of light. There's only the concept of light. And that's why the Baal Shem Tov revealed and taught the concept of Chassidus, because we're going to bring the ultimate light to the world. We that are living in the dark, no, because we're ready, no, because we need to bring this light to the time has come before Mashiach comes to start revealing this light, to start revealing the light. So that's why actually you see today, most probably today, there's greater capability of learning than even in the times of the Beis Hamikdash. You have everything. Look at this library itself. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. Yeah, the whole world.
What's starting? The word starting?
We have the capability today to learn the most deepest concept of the Torah to the most simplest concept of Torah. It's been chewed to us. It's been regurgitated, translated in English, and just like you take the Gemara for dummies, and everybody can learn Gemara. There's no excuses. There's no excuse for everybody to learn the most deepest part of Chassidus. Yesterday we learned the Maimah, the most deepest concept of Chassidus, regurgitated and then explained in English. Tried to explain this deep concepts in English. But it's beautiful because we have that capability. Because we need it now. We need to reveal the light of darkness in the world. We have, because Mashiach is coming. That's it. That's what the Alter Rebbe says. For the souls of Moses, the souls of our generation, live in the period preceding the coming of Mashiach, which are the very souls or the feet compared to the brain and the head. We are pashut like the feet. With all the wonderful things that the feet go with it, right? Athlete's foot. We are the generation which are as a very so that compared to us. So every generation, the leaders of Jews, whose souls are the category of head and the brain, in comparison to those of the masses and the ignorant. Likewise, are the distinction between the fashes upon the fashes, for every soul consists of a nefesh, ruach, and neshama. This concept is also a very complex concept of the soul itself. The soul itself has its many different levels. So even your neshama itself, my neshama that comes into me, is 5 levels to every neshama. There's a nefesh, ruach, neshama that every person has, and there's a chaya yechida, which may never ever come into my existence.
What's that?
There's the nefesh, the basic, the soul that comes into the physical. There's the ruach, there's the emotions of the soul. There's the neshama, which is the intellect of the soul, which you see mentioned many times, naran, nefesh, ruach, and neshama. And then there's the life force of the soul, the chaya of the soul. And then the yechida shebenefesh, the oneness of the soul, which we started at the beginning of Tanya, that every Jew is a chelik elakam mimal mamish. Every Jew is a part of God. That's because his yechida shebenefesh, his oneness of the soul, the essence of the soul.
Oneness with God.
That's one with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But that oneness may never be revealed in my life, because I'm so far away from it. But there's a neshama the way it's above, and then there's a neshama the way it ultimately comes into my body. There might be No, there might be chas v'shalom. No, you might not even see the connection. The way the neshama is above and the way the neshama comes into my physical body. Doesn't change the reality. As the Alter Rebbe says, nevertheless, the root of every neshama, nevertheless, it doesn't make a difference how far away you are from the essence of your own soul. Forget about how far you're away to the essence of Moshe Rabbeinu's soul, or the nefesh of the Rebbe, the leader of this generation soul. You're so far, if you're so far away from your own soul, you're surely so far away from his soul. What's the difference? All our neshamas, all the all our souls, whether it's Moshe Rabbeinu's soul, whether it's the Lubavitch Rebbe's soul, whether it's my soul, all come from the same essence, come from God. We're all rooted in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We all are rooted in one entity, and we're all connected to one entity. And therefore, we are all needed, whether we're Moshe Rabbeinu or Zalman Bucket. The world would not exist without Moshe Rabbeinu. We all could agree with that. And we'll all have to agree that the world cannot exist without me. Thank you for your second emotion, second vote. You all have to agree because the will cannot exist. That's why every one of us has to say b'shvili never. Not because of my neshama, b'shvili, the whole world was created because my neshama. The Eibishter put my neshama in this world. And therefore, the whole world is in need of me.
Good job.
Right? So my job, someone else can do a better job than me, right? Someone else can be a better rabbi than me. They could. I'm not the best rabbi in the world. Somebody can be a better doctor than you. Somebody can be a better lawyer than you. Somebody can be, but nobody can be a better Jew than you. Because the Eibishter needs your neshama in this world, as it needs Moshe Rabbeinu's neshama in the world. And Moshe Rabbeinu, that's why Moshe Rabbeinu comprehended that. Moshe Rabbeinu was an honor. He was humble. The tzaddikim were always humble. They never showed their greatness over somebody else. Because the tzaddik understood the neshama. A tzaddik understood the importance of every soul. As he understood the importance of his soul, he understood the importance of every other soul. And therefore, to a tzaddik, every soul was important, whether he was a great person, whether he was a simple Jew. The tzaddik, he knew the greatness of that simple Jew. To us, that we start evaluating souls. Oh, you're a righteous man, you're a tzaddik, you're a good person, you're a bad person, you're not worth it. Because we don't see souls. We're looking at what the value of the soul. What the value, oh, this soul is accomplishing, that soul is nothing. I don't see any accomplishment. So therefore, let's just get rid of him. Let's write him off. Let's say he's important. Let's say he's terrible. But if you know the concept of the soul, you know the source of every soul, then it's impossible that a soul is worthless, has no value.
I have a question.
Yes.
I didn't understand the parsha when it starts to talk about the value of people and stuff.
Right.
You just said the value of
Right.
is one sentence.
Because the Torah is talking about giving to the Beis Hamikdash. Talking about a person cannot say I give the value of my soul. He says I give the value of my body. I give the value of the soul. It doesn't make sense. The Torah is saying I give the value of my body. So now the Torah says I give the value of the body. If you're over 60 for a man, you're not the cocky. Your value your body doesn't have too much value.
Of the Beis Hamikdash, you mean, for
Yeah, I'll
what
give it to the temple. I'll give you the temple, the value of my body.
As a worker, like?
No, I'm giving tzedakah. I'm giving the value of my body to the temple. So the temple says, okay, how old are you? You're 20 years old, you're worth $50. If you're 60 years old, you're worth $15. And that's what you give the tzedakah, the value of the body. Simple. So you don't say I'm giving the value of my soul. You can't give the value of the soul.
It's not clear it's about tzedakah. You just explained it.
Well, we should have asked the question when we learned the chitas. It says the value of my value, the value of my body. So the Torah says, from what it depends how old you are. That's the value. If you're a man, there's a certain value. If you're a woman, it's different value. The value of the body. That's what we're talking about.
It's the body or the capacity of the body?
No, the value of the body. Torah actually says there's no capacity of the body. If you're 20 to 60, doesn't make a difference whether you're a doctor, lawyer, or garbage collector. You have the value of the body. What is the value of this body? That's Exeris Akasa. Rashi says that's not, because in the regular law you say what's the value? This guy's he's a garbage collector. This guy's a famous scientist. His value is different. But the Torah doesn't look at the value that way. That the Torah says all people have the same value physically. Value if you're giving the value of the body. When it comes to damages, might be different. When you hurt somebody, then the court will evaluate what's your value. Self-understood, your value is different whether you are a doctor or a homeless guy. There's going to be a difference in the value. If you damage a doctor, you damage a homeless person. Because that's a value by the court. The Torah here over there is talking about the value God evaluates when you give charity. What's the value?
About the soul.
Yeah.
And we are each one of, so a couple of days ago.
We have to realize that as much, we have to let our souls free our souls. So the problem is, again, we have to let the soul and the neshama, because that's really the purpose of our life. So the purpose of our life is the more you let it shine, the more it will shine. How much can the soul shine? It's unlimited. How much the soul can shine? The more you let it shine, the more it will shine. The less you let it shine, the less it will shine. But it's like the sun shines, right? The sun shines. Now you can open up your window shades, or you can close your window shades. You can open one window shade, you can open two. You can have a house that's only glass, so lets the sun come totally in. How much do you want of the sun to come into your house? The sun is illuminated, it shines. Learned that today in Tanya.
Yeah.
Learned that today when we learned the chitas. So the Rebbe says that's one of the examples. Is just like the soul infuses the whole body, so too the sun shines. Shines. It shines to everybody equally. The person, what they want to, how much sunshine they want to bring into their room, but the sun shines to everybody.
All the time.
Yeah, sun never goes down, right. Sun shines. The sun shines. Right. So the sun shines. That's what it was created for. It's an unlimited. That's why it's called earth. That's what we compare the concept of earth, the illuminator and the luminator. So you have the earth and the ma'or. The earth is what the ray of the sun, and the ma'or is the sun. So even the ray of the sun is not in comparison to the sun. But the ray of the sun comes from the sun. It's earth. But earth davak lamer, that's another very important thing we'll learn, Tanya. Earth davak lamer, the earth is always connected to the mer. This is the same thing. Even though a very diminished light comes into my body, right? Because this light needs to be condensed to that I come into me. But still, the earth is always connected to the mer. Moshe Rabbeinu, he has this greater revelation of Ur. And because he has greater revelation of Ur, that's why he's Moshe Rabbeinu. Very, 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 it's like a very dark room. I like to live in a dungeon. Very, very dark, because the light is very minute. But it's the same Ur that came to Moshe Rabbeinu. There's no difference in the Ur of Moshe Rabbeinu and my Ur. He just let the Ur. You open more windows, and I am gonna. But it's the same earth. There's no difference in the earth. It's the same earth. The same earth that penetrated Moshe Rabbeinu is the same earth that's coming into me. It's just by me. It's very limited. And by Moshe Rabbeinu, it's very vast.
And that.
And that connects me. No, me.
What is the?
Moshe
baseball?
Kibbel.
Is the baseball?
Moshe Rabbeinu was a better vessel. He lived in a glass house. I live in a brick house. He lived in an open house. Everything was accepted. He was ultimately the best vessel of receiving. My vessel is Moshe Rabbeinu had a big pot, and now I'm coming with a little cup. And that's it. But it's the same It's important to realize it's the same The problem is Moshe Rabbeinu knows that. We don't feel that. We're shmatas. But the truth is, we're going to bring, if we bring Geula, we bring Geula for all generations to Moshe Rabbeinu too. So Moshe Rabbeinu is waiting for us. The Gemara says Moshe Rabbeinu is waiting for us to bring Mashiach. He says, bring Mashiach already. Mashiach already. What are you guys doing? I'm waiting for you. Moshe, I'm Moshe Rabbeinu waiting for you, Moshe. Wake up and bring Mashiach. That's it. Bring Mashiach. And that will be, and then you're going to elevate yourself. You elevate me. You're going to bring Mashiach for me too. I mean, you're going to bring Mashiach, Moshe, and Moshe Rabbeinu is going to come down and say, thank you. Thank you, Moshe, for bringing Mashiach. It says Moshe Rabbeinu was jealous. He was embarrassed. It says Moshe Rabbeinu was embarrassed of the generation from Mashiach. He was embarrassed, the Gemara says. Moshe Rabbeinu said, wow, that's a real generation. That's real people. People that don't have revelation are Jews and daven, learn, and do Torah mitzvahs. That's real. We had a big deal. Really, how do we sin? We had such revelation.
Right, that's a big one.
That's the question. But they should be a bunch of sinners. They should be worse than us because they have no revelation. Now look at them. Nefesh, they gave their life to us being Jewish. They continue to daven, they continue to learn, they continue. Wow, I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed of this generation. Embarrassed. Moshe Rabbeinu realizes that even though we're no but that's the beauty of the generation. That there's no there's no light, seemingly, but there's the greatest light. This generation that has no is going to bring out the greatest light in the world. That's why Dr. Rebbe is going to bring down in a couple of minutes. The greatness of light that comes from darkness, the light that comes from light. This generation is light that comes from darkness. That means we have the capability to take darkness and make it light. Not only to take darkness and bring light into it, to actually take darkness and change it into light. How do you do that? How do you take darkness? That means that you're still dark. It's dark, but you see the light in it.
Shine.
It doesn't shine. It's not shining, but you see the light in it. When you're doing Torah mitzvahs, you act like a from. You don't see the light. You see the light. But you've taken darkness. We have taken darkness, and we have made it light. Seemingly, right? I don't see any light going on.
Yeah, but we don't.
That's even greater. We have taken darkness and we have made it light, even though we don't see the light. That's the greatest accomplishment of darkness. Ultimate to take darkness, to see light in darkness. To transform the darkness, to bring light, and to actually to live it with the darkness and say it's light. To have. That's why Moshe Rabbeinu was embarrassed of this generation. Wow, I'm in no comparison to this generation. Generation we're in. Wonderful day. I want to hope that we're not going to be here next Sunday. I want to wish you a wonderful Shavuos. It should be a Kabbalah Sateda B'Pnimis in an inner fashion, and have a wonderful Yontiv. Hope to see you over Yontiv and have a wonderful week.